Aloha, welcome everybody. We're officially live. Gonna give you all a minute or two to join me here. Just getting my beverages ready. How are you all doing? Okay, so tonight we're gonna talk Lightbody 101. First thing we want to start with are some amazing beverages. Aloe, coconut water, organic, whatever form you can get, whatever is affordable right now. Super important for Lightbody DNA plasma. So welcome to Lightbody 101. We are going to be talking about the light body, working with light, working with sunlight, how to charge your system when you don't have sunlight, for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. Welcome, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Let's see, we're going to talk about solar charging, some light body solar charging, some amazing wisdom that's been shared with me over the years and also downloaded or flow loaded through from the solar rishi and solar angelic beings. We're going to talk about the effects of photonic light also on our brains and like our cognitive functioning, because one thing that's a bummer is I do see a lot of people right now in the mainstream really freaking out with these fluctuations in the frequencies, generally older people, so like baby boomer age and up, generally. And they're really genuinely frightened because they feel like maybe they're, starting to get amnesia or dementia or aphasia or different cognitive decline things happening. So first, I want to start this off with just a disclaimer that this is not intended to represent medical advice, right? We always encourage your sovereignty. So always make sure that you're checking in with yourself, with your health. If you have a naturopathic or whatever kind of primary care physician you prefer. I myself, welcome Colette. Thank you for being here. Wonderful to have your energy, ladies. Thank you so much. I just to share some of my own background as well, is I am a clinical Ayurvedic specialist. So my background is more natural, ancient medicine, herbal, detox, diet, digestion, in addition to the energetic practices. So disclaimer, this isn't a substitute for medical advice. This is strictly entertainment purposes and ascension information for fun for all of us together. And I welcome any questions in the chat if you like, or after the live too in the comments here. So we will start to jump in. So welcome everyone. My name is Marissa Indigo and I am an ascension navigation guide, holistic health detective. There's a lot of different names for the roles that I'm here to fulfill. Ultimately, it's to support you exploring and gaining sovereignty and expansion and awareness of your body, your energy, and so much more. So our physical body, there's so many beautiful sayings about it. It's our vehicle for awakening. It's our temple space. It's our light ship. This is our own individual representation of the earth, of Gaia, a gift also of Gaia, made of earth and stardust, right? So we are of this beautiful star planet, and we're also crystalline, and we're also of stardust. So that all has to do with minerals and plasma and so much. So let's dive into the light body. Let's start with light body. I would like to just share a brief overview of how it came into my awareness. So 2008, 2009 was the deep dive in starting to investigate more information with regards to the ascension. These words, ascension and light body were coming in. At that time, we were scared shitless of what it meant to go light body. So when my mentor would say, oh, well, when we go light body, and I was just like, does that mean we're dead? Like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean that we have to be careful? Like things are going to pass through us like a ghost, like, So I want to share some resources with you to go even deeper, because I'm calling this Light Body 101, but there's a really great book, What is Light Body? And it really dives more deeply into some of the advanced physical things that may occur for you. So we're going to go kind of general tonight just to get you introduced and how to work with the light body, how to charge with or without the sun, and then also talk about cognitive functioning and like things like memory loss, things like that. So the book, What is Lightbody, is incredible for those of you that really resonate with the rays of light and the different rays of color to work with that are very actually powerful for the different body systems. They're all part of that book. And there's amazing affirmations and invocations to the different rays of color, and a very in-depth, it's like a glossary of some of the potential physical sensations that you may encounter as you really advance into more and more light embodiment in the physical body. And then another wonderful resource that I totally suggest is Lisa Transcendence Brown. So if you go to her website, awakeningtoremembering.com, she has, gosh, like 20 years of journal entries and articles to share a lot of her own experiences. And she shares much more advanced physical upgrade sensations. A lot of us in our community with her talk about the sparkle skin. You know, we are seeing crystalline chips like in our skin, or having irritations in our eyes where your eyes are scratchy, they feel sandy and you have to rest them. A lot of us are also getting the experiences of glowing sometimes, or you're on camera like this and your aura is like, whoa, you know, doing all these interesting things. And then she goes really advanced into things like cranial expansion, where the bones are starting to shift as your brain material is shifting, and also teeth migration. So that's for much more advanced, you know, like working a decade plus integrating heavy dosages of photonic light. So for the purposes of entertainment and education and a general foray into Lightbody, we'll start with the basics. So what is the Lightbody? I'm going to share how I have come to understand what it is. It is the integration of high photonic light with our nervous system. So you can actually look into this. It's a real thing. Human bioluminescence is a real thing. There's also some amazing books, Light Medicine of the Future, which I highly recommend. Oh, awesome, Sarah. Thank you. Yeah. So Light Medicine of the Future is an amazing book because it teaches how, and the Vedic rishis talked about this too, when I talk about like Ayurveda and my Ayurvedic background. You know, when we talk about solar gazing, we're talking about the photon receptors in our eyes that are absorbing light. And then the third eye, you know, we actually have like 7 etheric eyes here in the forehead. And so there's a lot of photoreceptors. Even our fingernails are breathing in light. So if you think about a plant and how a plant being makes ATP, what is it doing? Essentially, it is embodying light from the sun and turning it into sugar, right? The beautiful crystalline. So we are capable of doing that as well. And we just have a little bit different cellular structure, but our glandular system is set up for that. So it's through the, you know, photonic light receptors in our eyes where this light goes then deeper into the brain, and it's actually metabolized through our body. So what's funny is as you get into your light body experiences and start to explore, you start to kind of track what is impacting it. Sometimes you are not going to know, you know, what is causing it. It's just happening for you because everyone's in different phases of the carbon to crystalline process of the cellular body and the DNA itself. But essentially, we're becoming more crystalline. And great ways to support yourself through this process is, you know, a clean diet, just organic, non-processed, really good quality water. When I started this stream, I like popped in, you know, I'm always drinking a ton of aloe. Aloe is incredible for digestion, and it also is one of the highest food sources of iridium, which is a very powerful element. You think about iris, right? Or iridescent. So Iris was a goddess of the rainbow. And so it's all about rainbow light body, and it actually nourishes your third eye. So if you have a significant amount of aloe that you are drinking and working with, not only is it incredible for your skin and beauty and your digestion and all of that, but it's actually supporting like DMT production and your third eye and all of these things so that you can actually increase your sight. And coconut water is very important as well to support your plasma. So you're going to hear me nerd out a lot on this stream because I love supplements and superfoods and alchemy like Ormus. That's how I learned about aloe having the highest food source of iridium, because I started to research really rare elements like rhodium and iridium that we only have this tiny little percentage in our brain. And if we can get that supplement, it also supports to increase our frequency and access our light body. naturally, right? Just by supplementing. But with the tracking that I was talking about, if you start to really get in tune with the space weather, I do have some resources, but just go to solarham.com. I have a solar Rishi course. I have a remembering Solaria course as we're activating our solar cosmic beingness. But these are for free. Go to solarham.com and start to look at what's going on. Start to explore what is the KP index, right? What are the solar activities right now? What phase of flare activity are we in? What are we observing? And you'll start to notice that more is happening with the light body, with the cosmic space weather. So I say, hey, it's the new era. We're in the age of Aquarius. It's really important to become cosmic and galactic global citizens. So we're paying attention to the weather on a wide scale across the planet, and with the solar space weather and the cosmic rays, coming down, and the photonic light coming down, in addition to our local weather. So you want to start to reframe and consider that information is just as important, because it's going to let you know a little bit, at least as much as we can anticipate energetic fluctuations, or when the flares are shifting and there's more protons. You may notice, oh my gosh, so much of my programming is coming up and I'm getting triggered. And so it can assist you, because for me personally, like when I have some semblance of an idea of what the heck is going on, I tend to freak out a lot less, because I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's natural, we're good, because a lot of what we're doing, we've never done before, right? So it automatically stresses our nervous system and all of that. So you will start to notice as you're going on your journey of your light body activations that our light bodies were actually trying to do this the whole time that we were on the planet, even when we were children. And me personally, I'm recalling instances where, oh my God, I remember when I used to feel really heavy like that, or I'd have these sensations wash over me and I'd feel like so exhausted, or like my body was made of lead and I just had to lie down, but we didn't know what that was. This was even like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, and we would just push through it, because you're just like, well, I don't know, maybe it's chronic fatigue, like I ascribe to back in the day, chronic fatigue, Epstein-Barr, really thinking that that's what my problem was. And it's good to assess your hormone levels and look at, like a blood lab, if you can. Look at your chemistry of your blood, look at your potassium, look at your magnesium. It's good to look at these things in the beginning to really get acquainted with your body and your body's style. I'm also available for Ayurveda if you want to really explore your chemical chemistry kind of analysis of your own unique biochemistry, because we're all a combination of elements that are unique. And it gives you, it's a good baseline to start to see like, oh, well, this is what my beingness is made of. And of course, it's going to shift with the photonic light. So now we'll get into a little bit more of the photonic light. So do you all remember when everyone was freaking out about 2012, right? And we thought this huge literal shift was going to just boom, overnight happen, right? Well, what happened in 2012? The Maya were talking about in 2012, we were going to enter the photon belt. So you think about, okay, photon belt, oh, photons, oh, photonic light. Okay. So now here we are in 2025. And we've even talked last year, oh my gosh, guys, it's been 12 years since 2012. Like, holy shit, holy shift. Look at where we are. Look at how much has changed, in our experience, and our sense of time is shifting. Like, just so much is different 12 years later, right? So first of all, when we talk about the light body, I would say generally a lot more of us have been experiencing more of these bizarre sensations since 2012, and it continues to amplify. So the light body is an innate part of us, and it's basically the next level of our nervous system. And I love some of these beautiful phrases, when we tune in, like the shining ones, the children of the sun, the return of the children of the sun, or the children of the light. There throughout time, throughout prophecy and myth and global cultures, they have talked about this return of the children of the light and of the sun. And so if you've ever seen the movie Stardust, I highly recommend it. Claire Danes is a star and she falls to earth and she's glowing. Every time her heart opens and she feels love, she's glowing, and you can almost hear this like beautiful sound coming from her, this frequency. So that's our true nature. When our hearts are open and our energy levels are at a certain height, a certain fullness of our batteries, we glow, and a lot more happens. Basically, you want to start with diet, digestion, detox protocols, detoxing the heavy metals, getting really good sleep. There's a lot of lifestyle choices with this, right? We do have the crystals that start to appear in our skin. I know we have some beautiful of our community members here in the chat that have shared photos of, oh my gosh, I can see crystals in my hands and, above my eyelid. It looks like you have glitter, but you have not touched any glitter. You don't have any glitter in your house. Sorry, Luna's joining us now. So sorry for the movement of the table here. So essentially, all of us have been on overdrive with fried as hell nervous systems in the old paradigm. So you can't really glow. You can't really kick on your light body or even start to spin and get this high spin rate at a cellular level, at an atomic level, which is then going to kick on your Merkaba if you've got low wattage going on, right? So a great way is food and the content, the qualities of what you're bringing into your experience. So make sure you're not bombarding yourself with heinous, negative content, whether that's entertainment or media. Also, frequencies are very important. So solfeggio tones, crystalline tones, beautiful natural sounds. You want to get out and you want to breathe the fresh air. So you want to try to get as natural as possible, connect to the elementals as much as possible while we're living this modern life, right? And eventually you're going to start to notice that you're having lifestyle shifts come forth for you. Like, okay, I can no longer do the 9 to 5. Like, I cannot sustain it. My body cannot sustain this level of linearity. Oh my gosh. Okay. I've got to have some lifestyle changes. I've got to have some career changes, and you want to process what comes through with that. If you're frightened by, whoa, my whole life has to change as I'm going into a light being, it's natural. And what's important to know is as you activate and as you calibrate to more energy, more light, as you become more energy focused in your life, realizing that everything is an investment of energy. So no gossiping, right? No negativity, right? No engaging with anything that would pull your energy, any kind of negative places, negative people, negative conversations. You all of a sudden start to realize, whoa, my life force energy is the most precious and priceless resource that I have. And as you start to honor that, you start to cultivate your light. And so I want to share, like, a few years ago, my universe said, don't get below 20%, meaning like my battery wattage, because as soon as I went 20%, I would go unconscious. I would be crabby. I would be critical. I would be, kind of bossy and just not fun to be around for my family. I couldn't show up for others. Well, a few months ago, universe said, you can't go below 80. And I was like, okay, because there's a whole new level now. It's not only about our emotional energy and like our aura, and what we're presenting on a social level, but how we hold our realities together. And this is entirely new for me. So Lisa Transcendence Brown's work she's very advanced. This is what she's teaching us. Go to her website that I mentioned earlier, awakeningtoremembering.com. But I have shared some videos just sharing my discoveries of how when I refuel my light, it literally builds my reality. So this is where it gets tricky for us because it's new and it's hard for us to trust at first, right? As energetic beings, and that everything is going to be different. And we are so used to operating on a physical level, right? Or a linear level or a transactional level. Like, I do this, I get this, like I clock in and I get paid, right? And so when we start to invest more in our energy and start to trust our light body is going to take care of us because we're taking care of it. So then all of a sudden your physical body and your energy becomes like the number one priority, right? And that's part of the self-care and the self-love. So as you're building your light body, then you're going to start to observe, like, oh my gosh, I'm glowing. I'm seeing the crystals in my skin, like all kinds of different things start happening. So that's a little bit about how that's the truth of our nervous system, is that we are made in the divine image. We are made so that the light of our soul shows up. The light through our eyes comes out, and you can hear it in the frequency of someone's voice. So you can start to tune in and, really trust your body as a metric system. I say that the body is the original quantum biofeedback machine to start to tune in and feel the energy and just feel where, even the thought of something, you're like, oh my God, that makes me feel so heavy. Or, oh my God, I feel exhausted just thinking about that. I cannot do it, right? So you want to start to honor and not push and just trust that you don't have to sacrifice yourself or your energy for your reality. And you don't have to compromise yourself. So this is where we get into more trust, and we're trusting this process. And there are so many that have come before us that share this information, right? So it's a process. It's a lot. that's basically the very beginning. I also want to make sure I don't forget, if you go to my website, I offer a free resource guide for light body nutrition. Like it's supplements for your light body and for your DNA. So it's divinednablueprint.com. And I think it says like gifted resources, but there's like a whole huge page of all kinds of amazing different forms of supplements. So even if you can just start with one, which I recommend cell food, but there's a lot there, nutrition for ascension and your light body. So now I want to talk a little bit into, we talked a little bit about what it is. We talked a little bit about how it works and how to strengthen it. So it's really about prioritizing its lifestyle. And now we're going to talk about how to activate it. So the sun is the easiest way, right? And you can just put your forehead in the sun and just imagine that your third eye is drinking in the sunlight, and just intend, say, I'm breathing in, I'm drinking in this sunlight, this solar plasma, and it's nourishing my entire body system. So I'm drinking it, and you want to use your imagination and just imagine that solar prana is flowing through and charging your entire beingness, your all of your cells of your body, your DNA, and your glandular system, everything. Another really powerful thing to do in the sun is actually open your mouth and just take the sun's rays into your mouth like you're eating it, like you're eating that chi, that prana, that life force energy. So you can open your mouth, and I feel like it's really good for us, honestly, to get the sunlight on our teeth and on our tongue and like the back of our throat and stuff, because those aren't usually places where we get sun, right? Also, putting your palms in the sun, the soles of your feet in the sun, laying on your tummy and having your spine in the sun, even if it's cold weather and you have to have clothes on like me right now. I wish I can't solar bathe like I like to, in like a bathing suit or something. Doesn't matter. I can still get the palms of my hands, the soles of my feet, my face. And I'm just trusting. I'm like saying, yep, just go through my whole spine, right? So depending on if I have discomfort on my back, my low back, any part of my spine, my neck, I'll just put it in the sun. And another thing that's very powerful, solar gazing. So to safely solar gaze, and you want to check in, always ask your body, is it okay that we do this? And, is this okay? And how long? Should I just do 30 seconds or 15 seconds, or could I do a minute? Always ask your body every step of the way. But solar gazing, you can do this safely. Generally, it is advised 10 minutes after sunrise, 10 minutes before sunset, right? And so you just want to observe what you're experiencing and take your time with it. Don't push it. Don't overdo it. Another thing that's extraordinarily powerful for working with the sun's light is to have prisms everywhere. So I actually have like crystal prisms in all my windows all over, so that we are getting rainbows constantly. As long as we're having sun shining through the windows. I also have a feng shui kind of crystal prism in my car when I drive. So the sun is going, and it's like a wonderful rainbow prism disco ball, just scattering rainbows literally all around me. And if you can get the palms of your hands one at a time and just bring that rainbow light into these chakras here, and just imagine, okay, I'm breathing in this rainbow plasma. So our imagination and the color rays is extraordinarily powerful for light body charging. Another thing now, when we don't have sun, right? Okay, the imagination. Working with the color rays can be extraordinarily powerful. So breathing in white light, breathing in golden solar light, diamond plasma, the copper ray, right? The beautiful kind of sapphire indigo blue ray, the violet fire, kind of a pearlescent white, iridescent, like almost like a milk, this pearl white, satiny, creamy color. Rose gold. I was so thrilled because we've had the whiteout again where I am in Washington State. So we had a few days of sun, which was just like incredible to have for winter. And then this morning it was I call it the whiteout again, because we're getting ready for snow and it's completely white sky, like the sun is not shining through. But this morning it was rose gold. Oh, I was so happy. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm waking up in this heavenly realm of this rose gold, and to see that color. So I take advantage of what I'm seeing or imagining, and you want to really take it as far as your imagination can go. So imagine that you're bathing in it, that you're showering in it. You can take a shower and imagine that the water of the shower, use this visceral sensation of the water, beaming, radiating down, like this is solar plasma. So the sun is bathing you in a shower. So there's a lot of ways to work with your imagination. Also having a candle lit, working with that solar fire in the fire element itself. If you have a fireplace or a bonfire or a fire pit, anywhere that you can safely work with the flame, and you want to just look at that, and you can candle gaze. I have like a candle gazing. It's like a free mini course on the Mystery School website. It's called Dhyana meditation in the yogic tradition. And you're just meditating on the candle flame. So you're just staring at it with a soft gaze and kind of becoming that flame. And you're literally using the fire of the eyes. So in the Vedic system in the Far East, our eyes digest. So they digest light. So there's a digestion happening of the fire in our eyes. And you can tell when someone's really healthy or happy, there's a lot of light, right, beaming out of their eyes, at you. You can tell, you can feel that energy. Also, color therapy, right? So I want to give you a bunch of examples so we can work with whatever works for you. So you could wear yellow or a beautiful orange or saffron. So vivid colors. Another warm color is kind of like a neon pink or a magenta, but golds, oranges, yellows can really take you there. So color therapy with your clothing or artwork, or however, maybe if you can have some potted plants or some flowers in your room. Like I have this lovely orchid. I love, and I love that it's kind of like, the pretty soft yellow and then some purple there. Also, clothing color, or sorry, we talked about clothing color therapy, but also food color therapy to connect with the solar energy. So orange juice, because you're literally drinking gold, turmeric latte, or putting turmeric on your food. Mandarins, I have these amazing, they have these little organic mandarins. And I'm like, okay, I'm eating a sun, I'm literally eating a miniature orb that is the solar prana as I'm eating that kind of vivid orange. So color therapy is huge because, again, we're digesting the color through our eyes and through our imagination and like bathing your body in it. Also andaras, having the andaras or other crystals of the different color rays that feel solar to you, yellows, oranges, orange, red. I love fairy lights or strings of lights too. I always have strings of lights on in my room, and I wish I could show you, but I'll put some pictures up in the community posts here so you can see. I have like a fireplace made out of andaras that are kind of a platinum ice and then gold. So it's like a fireplace made out of andaras, crystalline fireplace in my bedroom as well. So those are ways to work with the sun, without the sun. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to put them in. And we're doing pretty good. We're like half an hour. I thought it might be about 40 minutes for this, Let's see. Yes, so just to share, supplements guide for DNA and Lightbody on my website, divinednablueprint.com. And if you have questions about the Ayurveda consultations, and how to look at your elemental constitution, that's also there on the website. And we're looking at diet, detox, digestion, immunity, which we call ojas, which is your life force energy, your prana, right? So how do we get your battery back online? It has a lot to do with the power of your digestion and the quality of the foods you're eating, and also things like how much sleep. But then we get to flip that, because when we're in a lot of photonic light and our light body is stronger, you don't need as much sleep, right? The solar flares are keeping you up, and then you're working through a whole other level of stuff. So now we're going to talk about the effects of photonic light on our cognitive functioning. And this is where I say some people right now, certain generations, are concerned that maybe they have some kind of cognitive decline, So I'm going to share some examples of what I've experienced. I have to put my car keys in the same pocket of my bag, or I will lose them. I have to be so aware. Don't leave them in your pocket. Don't leave them in, whatever. So there's certain things where you're like, oh my God, I have to put that in the same spot, or I'm going to lose it, or I'm going to forget it because I'm not seeing it. So it's like there's these interdimensional experiences. I have to put my phone in the same place. I'll be in my car driving and I'm like, where's my phone? Where's my phone? And I can't see it. And then I look away and my daughter's like, it's right here, Mom. And it's like literally right in front. And I'm like, well, it wasn't there a second ago. Like, what the heck is going on? So people are losing things, forgetting things, feel like they can't find things. They're also like, oh, my memory just isn't what it used to be. And it's like, well, you're going to notice some differences with things like recall, because if it's not important to your universe, like you're not going to remember it as easily because it's not important anymore. And the reasoning is, our brains are shifting from a survival and a very primal level in the limbic, the lower brain, as our vagus nerve is getting cleansed and cleared of trauma as we're working through subconscious stuff, and we're becoming more clarified as we're doing these crystalline processes of purification and becoming more crystalline ourselves. The recall is completely different, because it's just not as important to remember these like random facts. But the thing is, you will remember. It just takes a little bit. It's not going to come right to the forefront in a linear way like it used to, because our data storage is different. Our data storage is the whole body, or our DNA as an Akashic library. So recall is going to be different. And it's not thinking the same way. It's really hard to describe this, but it's more of a whole body. What was that? Will you bring that through? And sometimes in the beginning, when I'd get freaked out by this, I would tap my body. Or when something came through, I'm like, oh my God, I really need to remember this. I want to remember this for later, and I can't write it down. I'll tap somewhere in my body and say, okay, remember this for later. Boop, boop. And it's almost like you're programming into the computer system, like you're filing it. And then you can tap later for recall. So there's some very interesting ways to work with your body and your light body, your memory, your energy system. But yeah, people are not going to remember the dense information because it's not important. It's not going to come to the forefront, right? So recall is different. It's important to put things in a designated place so that you will not lose it. We have to have Post-its to remind us of things all the time. I have to write things down. Like my daughter's schedule is all over the board, and she'll tell me something and I'm like, I can't hold that. So you'll notice also that you can't store like innate information. And we think it's important to remember someone's schedule or all these pieces, because it was important. And on a level, it still is important. But it's not the same, it's very interesting. It's weird. And it's kind of hard to explain, but if we can support people to know that there's a lot more going on with the way that the light affects our nervous systems and affects our memory, and also how we perceive, it's kind of like, everything you need to know in the moment when you need to know it. So it's really different. I couldn't imagine trying to go to school now. I can't do a linear job anymore. It's like, I'll think I did something because I think it in my mind. So this is where it's also confusing as heck, especially now, especially as the nodes have shifted. So yesterday we had the new moon in Aquarius, and the nodes have officially, like energetically now, you can feel the shift of the North Node in Pisces energy. Pisces energy is a timeless place. It's timeless. It can be kind of messy. It's in the void. It's oneness. It's unity consciousness. It's also delusion. It's mirages. It rules the movie industry. So we're watching a movie. So then you're like, wait a minute, did the movie really happen? So I'll have to ask people, did I tell you this already? Because I thought about it, and I can't tell if we talked about it or if I just imagined the conversation about it. So you want to it's okay. Just check in, just check in with people. And I'll have to ask my daughter, wait, did we do that? Because I know we talked about it. Did we actually do it? Right? And everyone, no matter what path they're on, different generations too. Like I live in a multi-generational household. So we've got baby boomers, we've got me, elder millennial, and we have Gen Z, right? All in the same roof, and everyone is noticing a sense of timelessness. We're like, wait a minute, how is it already the end of the week again? We just had the weekend. Like, what is going on? And it's weird because sometimes the days will feel like very long. So this week, there's been a lot of intense processing, and it's like, I'm joking around, my friends and I are like, okay, so one day feels like 100 years with how much we're going through, how much we're seeing, processing, clearing emotions up and down. Like, holy moly, right? Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So time is different. Everything is different. And I realized, was it 2 mornings ago? I'm sitting in the living room and I'm having my coffee and I'm like, holy shit. It looks like I'm in the same living room. It's the same art on the walls. That's why this is so challenging and can be deceptive, because it looks like we're in the same place. Energetically, we're not in the same place. We're in some different places inside, depending on what's going on as well, dimensionally. But the frequency is different. A lot of people are observing a very strong lack of interest or resonance with all the things that they used to do before. So we want to be open and soft, and relax. Just relax and just trust the process. Your universe has your back. Your light body has your back. It wants to help you build whole new realities. And so we have to start to trust this process. We have to really honor what we put into our bodies as well. The food, like I shared, the quality of content, the kind of light fixtures we have in the house. Like if you can get incandescent bulbs, replace your bulbs. There's a whole thing about why they're having us use the LED. It's not good for the light body. A lot of things aren't good for the light body. The different contaminations that, all the different attempts at control and sequestering us. It's like, well, they really love to invest a lot of money into trying to suppress us awakening. And they really can't at the end of the day, because the body is such a miraculous, incredible tool, and a machine, but not a machine. This incredible light converting system. It's truly mind blowing. So linearity is going out the window in many, many ways. It's just going to be different. Words are different. We will always really have to clarify. And that's a funny one too. Like I shared, is like making sure you actually did something. So like for me, or I'll think like, oh, don't forget to do this, and then I think I did it because I reminded myself. And then I'm like, where the heck is that thing? Or oh my God, I didn't put that thing away or whatever. And like, I remember my last linear job I tried to have was August into September of last year. And it was really rough. And then it was stressful for me because I would get in trouble, for making mistakes. And I'm like, dude, my nervous system can't handle this. Like it's very challenging. Also with the light body and these different activation processes, something that Lisa Transcendence Brown has taught us is very important to know, is that when the spine is upright and vertical, that's linear. And when the spine is horizontal, that's quantum. And so you may notice like, oh my God, why does my body just not want to be upright? Like for me today, I was in bed all day. And I know a lot of it was rebuilding my light. I'll joke around and I'll call some of these phases. There are many phases of light body building, or it's a template wipe, or you're integrating, or let's say, like for me, I went through a ton of clearing even deeper layers of subconscious stuff and trauma and PTSD. So it's fucking exhausting. When you do the emotional work, it feels like you got hit by a truck. So I would say that today was all about integrating, and I couldn't really take in any content. I couldn't produce anything. I was kind of just like, well, I'm just going to rest until it's time to come on, with you all here. But you will notice that your body may want to be horizontal more, and sometimes you're flat, and I say flat as a pancake. You're just like, okay, I'm melted, So a lot of times I'm in bed with the cats and we're all just like, oh, integrating. And it's good to have the beautiful frequency music for that, lovely activations, just some beautiful content that inspires you, and it's all about keeping the heart open. So I would say the biggest piece of advice for this, to kind of summarize, is keep your heart open as best as you can. And when it shuts down and when your body locks down, it's okay. It's going to happen because this is new for us. And we have a nervous system that is learning and acclimating a whole new way. Since 2018, the planet Uranus has been in the zodiac constellation of Taurus. Taurus is Earth and Venus. So you think about the Venusian, cosmic, very sensual, meaning not sexually, but the embodiment of how beautiful it is to be a light being, to be a soul in a physical body that can smell, touch, taste, hear, right? All of these senses. That's what we say, the sensual. It's also the earth. So it's the entire physical reality has been getting a supercharged voltage, like a jump start in varying increments since 2018. And today, now we're on the 30th of January, 2025 at 8:22 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Uranus went direct again. It changed course again. So if you didn't sleep last night, like me and my daughter, we didn't sleep. I woke up and I thought, oh God, what time is it? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it'll be 4. Maybe it'll be 5. That's not too bad, to just wake up and just get into it. No, it was 1:40 a.m. And I was like, okay, and I'm up till 6, and my daughter woke up at 11:30 and she was up until 6. And she still is, she's in high school. So it can be very challenging to kind of merge the lifestyles, but it will happen naturally, right? And you just have to take care of yourself as best as you can and trust. And there will be some days where, you have to, whatever, you have to grind. And you just say, okay, light body, just get me through this. Just get me through this shift, right? Today, or whatever the task is. And you're going to just pull your light. And when I imagine that, what that means, I imagine like I'm pulling, it's almost like I'm pulling my suspenders on, or like I'm pulling my work boots on, like my badass, military style, like these awesome work boots that are very comfortable and like very chunky and very capable and strong, So it's like I'm pulling the light from like kind of my pelvic area and like my root area. I'm just imagining like, okay, we're going to get through this, and then I'm going to chill as soon as I can, and we're going to rewrite together, So, yeah, Colette. So it is a process of calibration, and just do your best to not fight it and keep your heart open. And every time when you feel your body locked down, for me, how I feel my body locked down is if something traumatic or trigger happens that triggers past life, I say past life, pre-ascension trauma, I'll feel there's a tightness. My belly feels tight. You could say you literally feel like sphinctered up kind of, or it's hard to breathe, and there's tension. There's a definite difference versus when the body is open and soft. And it's like your whole body is like this open corridor for the energetic flow, to come up and through and down and through and up and through and down and through. So you want to start imagining yourself like this crystal vase or a crystal chalice or the tube torus, whatever beautiful visuals that you love that you can feel. Oh yeah, that's nice. I like that, right? Imagining the flows of energy coming up from the planet and through you and down from the cosmos and through you. So you're simultaneously running two channels at the same time, as much as we can remember this. So another thing that's important for light body is more of the emotional and kind of nostalgic. So let's say you're having a hard time getting your heart open, or you're working back up to feeling your highest kind of light-filled, carefree, joyous, that state of pure peace and innocence again, because it is a process, right? When we get plunked down, you get the smack down into a contracted state. It takes a little bit to get out of that, and to feel the bliss. That's quite a jump, right? So you have to calibrate yourself. And this incorporates the light body as well. So some of my favorites, I had a whole list of things that bring absolute delight, notice delight of light, to my being. And a lot of them are honestly things that my little inner child, like my little girl, loves. So blowing bubbles, crystals, sparkly things, glitter, stickers, right? Little toys. Like I love this dragon from the How to Train Your, I don't know if I can focus it. I love her. I love her. Like this is like totally one of my guardian allies, right? So she's here with me on my desk. I love like these little sparkly stickers, little rainbow unicorn with glitter inside, fairy lights, animal videos, right? So you can hop on YouTube, or TikTok is fun, and watch darling little baby animals, whether they're playing around and they're running and they're so free and they're so pure, right? Also like little baby videos, maybe people doing cute, beautiful things with their, maybe hearing the baby laugh. So you want to go to the purest, most beautiful, and that nourishes your soul. That brings your light back, where you're like, oh my gosh, creation, the world, life is fucking amazing. And I'm so glad to be home and feeling the amazingness and the wonder and the awe, the beauty, right? Also just taking in beautiful natural scenery. So these are some wonderful, you can explore, like maybe your inner child loves to color. Maybe your inner child loves like Legos, or to paint, or some kind of an artistic working with color, right? Or making jewelry, making something beautiful with your hands. Another one for me is baking sometimes, or making a beautiful meal and sharing it, and feeling that's like another love language for me too, right? Nourishing your family and your friends, So you want to explore like what brings that like soul sparkle to me, where I'm like, oh yeah, I feel my sparkle coming back on, and cultivate that, continue to nourish that and bring that forth. So these are all some of my favorite ways to touch on the light body. We talked about working with the sun, and also ways, many, many ways. So you are not limited by weather. You are not limited by, well, I can't afford crystals or whatever. Like there, I don't have access to fire. I can't have that. My roommates, we don't allow that. It's okay. There are a million ways, and you'll find more of your own Another one that's my absolute favorite, I feel very blessed to get to enjoy yesterday, is the sunlight on the water. And of course, we have to have sun for that. But to see the sun shimmering on water, and again, you can watch a video with that. If you can't get that naturally, go to YouTube, find that shimmer. And so it's really like, that's the word I was looking for, sparkly, shimmery. These are the realms of the soul. These are the realms very high dimensional, beyond, physical, right? That nourish your soul's light to bring the shine and the sparkle back. Maybe if you're a woman, it's doing your makeup or changing your hair, playing with your appearance, bringing in the beauty. There are so many different ways, like what makes you feel good, what makes you feel alive, and just really enjoying bringing that sparkle back. So I'm going to have a sip of my beverages, and if you have any questions or anything you want to touch on, you can put that in the chat if you like. Or if there's anything that's challenging you right now, we have time. If you go to my supplement guide, sorry, there's like really awesome chunks of pulp in here. So I'm like chewing while I'm drinking. But if you go to my website and you go to the supplement guide, you're going to see all kinds of stuff there. You're going to see different minerals that are very supportive. Magnesium is very important. You can get a liquid magnesium for $20. So cell food is amazing as well. It will last you a very long time. You only need a few drops in your water, and it's a form of oxygen that also has all the vital minerals in it. So it's very good to basically make superfood waters for yourself. Magnesium is exceptionally powerful for the nervous system and also for pain management. Now, for me, when the physical light started coming into my body, it was 2018 into 2019, and it was quite painful. It reminded me of some like kind of Kundalini activations where the energy is going up your spine and your spine feels like it's on fire. So that's when I started to get even more into supplementing. And one of my first videos, it's embarrassingly old and archaic because I was brand spanking new to YouTube. It's like December 2018. It might be one of the first videos I ever did, but it's nutrition for ascension. And I go over a lot of these supplements too, but they're also all on this list on my website. And I talk about Ormus. Ormus is really amazing as well. Bringing in the gold frequency, whether it's gold jewelry, golden colors, golden clothing, or the liquid gold that's, monoatomic. Oh, intensity with the hands, crystalline. Can you describe a little bit more like what's going on? Like, are you having pain? Are you having breakouts? If you're having breakouts and rashes, that's crystalline. Where it almost looks like an acne outbreak or almost can look like a herpes, complex around your face, like also on the hands, rashes, skin peeling. That's all crystalline, if that's kind of more specifically what you're experiencing. What else was I going to say? Oh, well, and when we think about flare-ups, you want to think about fire. You want to think about solar fire. So also these solar flares can cause flare-ups. So hopefully that will help. And in general, like ask your hands. So this is a great question. We have one of our soul sisters in the chat talking about her hands experiencing some stuff. And what I want to invite you all, if you're having intensity anywhere in your body, let your consciousness speak as that part of your body. This was a huge one for me back in the day. Low back pain has always been a thing for me. Insane low back pain, especially postpartum, because I had a really difficult labor with my daughter. So my mentor at the time, she said, okay, I want you to just, rest and lay down, close your eyes. And I want you to go to that part of the body that's having pain. And she said, I want you to speak to me, pretend like you're that part of the body right now. And I want you to say what's going on. And so I traveled to my sacrum and low back in my mind's eye. And I said, I don't feel supported. Bam, there it was, So, okay, bumpy rash, low back pain. Yes. So there's a couple things here. There's crystalline, there's solar flares. Also, a lot of us, the back pain, it's a couple things. It depends on also for women where you are in your cycle, but you could be birthing new realities, which could be a whole thing. Lisa Transcendence Brown writes a lot on that. She talks about actually all kinds of really interesting things with that. You also want to think about where on the back, okay, what's the chakra at the front, right? So for a lot of us, the low back, it's unresolved emotional stuff. And I'm still deep in that. I still have a lot, of that. We have years and years of this where you're like, oh, damn, there's still more, there's still stuff from early childhood or whatever, right? So when you're looking at it on the back and on the spine, you want to see, well, what's the chakra at the front, and work with that too, because if you think about the way the spine is, you've got the cones, the chakra vortex is going from the front and the back. So you can work with moving the energy, work with the colors also, but bring your attention to that part of the body and speak as that part of the body and see what it says. Just, maybe it's like, oh, I'm tired, or like I shared, I don't feel supported, or maybe there's a dietary change. Maybe you need to change a soap. So you want to look at a bunch of things. Do you suddenly require hypoallergenic products for your hygiene products? Do you need to make some changes? That's something I forgot to talk about. But when we talk about our diet, we also have to talk about what are we putting on our bodies, so you want to really simplify your skincare and go with natural soaps. And there are usually cheap alternatives, thankfully, nowadays. It's very different, right, than even 10 years ago. So it's good to connect with your body and to give it voice, right? And for all of us, especially women, the body is prophetess. The body is the oracle. The body is for all of us, the body is the instrument, and it works differently. Sure, winter weather, the dryness. Yeah, the dryness can definitely exacerbate skin stuff. So then that I'm going to put on my Ayurveda hat and suggest maybe like connect, with some good nourishing lotion. I love castor oil. Like I'll put castor oil on in the morning and then again at night, a good hexane free. It's a Heritage Store. That's Edgar Casey's company, really cool mystical company, hexane free and a glass castor oil. You could also, if you don't have that and that's not possible for now, for a little while, if you have olive oil, that's a wonderful. So you'll notice like me, when it comes to skincare and these things, I'm more of a purist. Like what's the most natural thing? Because our skin's going to eat it, right? And so for me too, in winter, methylene blue, I feel like I don't know what that is. I feel like I've seen the name, but when it says methylene in there, I'm like very curious. So I actually am not familiar enough with that product. I'll look into it. I'll look into it and get back to you on that. Methylene blue. Also, alkaline water is good to a point. So another thing I want to share is a lot of these different, whether it's a supplement or you're changing your diet, let's say all of a sudden your body's like, I want kale up the wazoo, right? And then one day, and maybe you're doing green juices or whatever, and then one day your body's like, I don't want that. I don't want it. For me, my body will say no. And all of a sudden, I won't like the way it smells or I won't like the way it tastes. So that's my body's way of saying I'm done with that particular nutrient. And that's important to know if you want to do alkaline water, because essentially, we're bringing ourselves back to a pH, but then at a certain point, you don't want that. And I know a lot of people talk about, it starts with a D. It's where the water is like, it's turned into vapor. And I can't think of the name right now. Oh God. I used to have a machine that would reconstitute the water, but then I learned that that was dead water and I had to nutrify the water. So there's a couple things depending on where you live. If you don't have access to spring water, a great resource for all of us in the United States is Find a Spring. And I don't remember if it's .com or .org, but do findaspring.com or .org. And look where you live and see if there are any natural potable spring water sources. If not, and you need to get bottled water, and it depends on what you're doing to it to make it, more pure for yourself, that's perfect. And another great way to reconstitute the water is coral calcium. So there's these sachets, and they're almost like a little tea sachet, like a tea bag, and it has coral in it, and it's all sustainable, and it's called coral calcium. And you can put that sachet in your water and it's bringing calcium, magnesium, a lot of really important minerals to our water. Because I wish I could remember, it's with a D. I know you guys know, it's the machine like does stuff to the water and changes it so that you can basically take tap water, and like fix it, so to say, right? But you want to add minerals to it, because one of the things I learned when I started, is it distilled? Yes, thank you, Colette, distilled. So, we all have to work with where we live right now and what's possible. So it's perfect. And there are always ways to enrich what you have. And often it's very, very affordable as well. So if you're using distilled water, you want to do some research, always do your research and be sovereign. But for me, I have to be very aware of my kidneys because my kidneys are sensitive. And when I was little, I had a kidney disorder where they weren't working well and stuff. So I learned that, oh my gosh, over time, a lot of alkaline water, the pH can be too much for our organs. And distilled water is a dead water. So you need to add some stuff to it. You need to add some minerals to it to kind of bring it back. And you can rotate it too, like kind of, swirl it around, bring the swirl vortex into it, bless it, and you can reconstitute your water in a variety of ways. So light body stuff is really simple when we just start with the very basics of good quality water, organic whenever we can with the produce, right? And again, a lot of us are on a budget. Like I usually love a really nice, it's in the fridge, coconut water. It's like, it's like $10. I can't do that right now. So right now I'm getting a shelf stable one. But it's still organic and good quality coconut water. And my light body, I can tell, still really enjoys it. Another thing we should talk about is salty and sweet. So you'll notice you may have cravings for sweet, and that's crystalline. So, however, it is aligned for you to do that. Sometimes you're like, why do I want so many sweets? Or why do I want so much potato? So you're going to go through these really funny cravings. And you can find the healthiest alternatives. One of my favorites from like candy right now is like dried cherries, dried cranberries, dried mango. There's a lot of sugar in that. So yeah, and sometimes you may need even more. Like you may actually want sugar. Just know that's part of the crystalline process, because when we're purifying, that takes a lot. And again, I'm going to go back to that plant reference, of ATP. Well, what are the plants making? They are making sugar. They're converting sunlight, liquid light, into sugar. So you'll be amazed, at what's required. But dates can be awesome. Raw chocolate, really dark chocolate. Yeah. So I feel like we covered a pretty good, like I want to try to give you a good holistic picture of everything. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate you all. And if there's any other questions, I'm going to have another. Yeah, Colette says chips. Yeah, girl, potato chips. I love these blue corn. There's something about blue corn tortilla chips. So blue corn has a lot of silica in it. I know I'm getting hungry too, right, Jasmine? I know I'm like, I know. And another thing you might notice with this solar space weather is your appetite could be all over the place. So you could just feel if there's a lot of gamma happening and it's intense radiation. So that means X-class flares, you may feel nauseous. You may not want anything. You may actually gravitate towards a natural liquid fast that day. And so some days I'm like, I'm going to have my coconut water. I'm going to have my aloe. I'm going to have my drinking water that has cell food in it and it's a bone and joint formula that's like calcium, boron, magnesium kind of thing with silica, and then maybe a banana, honestly, or the mandarins, and then the sun goes down, I'm ravenous. And then that's when I'm going to make like a very dense meal, very dense food, and eat a huge plate. And it helps me pass out. If I'm lucky, I can pass out and I can sleep. Some days you're ravenous. You can't get enough food. So just feel, and just feel in. And I hope you all have, lovely plans for yourselves. Take good care of yourselves. If you can get some candles, even if you have to get candles right now, like whatever's possible, like the dollar store has them. When you can, try to get, like the soy wax, coconut wax, because those they burn longer. So you're getting more for the value. It's not paraffin, so it's not putting like the toxic stuff into the air as well. I love like Ross or TJ Maxx, or what's the other one? Marshall's. You can get beautiful, clean wax candles, for a good price. It's going to last you a long time. So candles are kind of a staple for me to work with the fire. That is very supportive. And you can also use that candle. So let's say, you live with a lot of people or different people, as many of us do, and they're on a different path. You can light the candle and ask the beautiful light of that candle to illuminate the space and to assist. If it's highest aligned, you always want to say, if this is highest aligned for everyone here, please, beautiful candle flame, the beautiful energy of the sun in this flame, please purify my space. Please assist me to transmute the negativity of this space, right? As long as it's highest aligned for all involved, bless up this space, right? So sometimes if I'm going to cook in the kitchen and there's going to be other people passing through, I'll bring a candle in the kitchen. And you always just want to say, you know, if this is highest aligned for all involved, right? So that way you are respecting, you know, karmically everyone and where they are. And maybe you'll get a no, maybe you'll get no, keep it in your room or keep it in the bathroom or, you know, whatever. Don't put it in the public space right now. You know, you feel in, you always want to honor the free will of all, and everything works for you anyway, you know? So yeah, I don't know if you guys have any other questions. Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. I'm really loving the lives too. It's really fun. I've been looking forward to it all day. I've been all right, spine. I'm gonna let you be freaking flat, horizontal all day, and then let's be here. And that's also your power too, like your spine becoming more of like, I always see like the sword of Archangel Michael. You know, we're bringing our power, we're integrating our masculine aspect. You know. Yeah, thank you so much for being here, Colette. We have Sarah, we have Jasmine. I hope this helps too for what you're going through physically, you know, when we talk about different body parts and stuff like that. With the Pisces energy, we'll go into a little medical astrology. So we still have Mars retrograde in Cancer, heart stuff, blood pressure, head, you know, you want to watch for like head injuries, a lot of Aries energy. Pisces energy rules the feet and more of the lymph, the lymphatic, moving the lymph. Aquarius, which we're in, the sun is in Aquarius, Pluto's in Aquarius, Mercury's in Aquarius, rules the ankles and the calf area, also the wrists. So what's interesting is you'll observe people, you know, basically the only reason we injure ourselves, the only reason we get sick is the body is kind of trying to say, hey, you know, come back in here. This is Earth. This is your home. Come here to operate from, right? Because a lot of us living in the body is new. It's uncomfortable. It feels maybe confining if we've got programming in there. You know, it can feel more like not as free. So often you'll observe others or ourselves injuring ourselves when we are kind of not as present. So some of these themes, you know, and just do your best to be present. And just remember, I'm doing my best. This is all new. I'm giving it my best every day. What more can you do? Right. So always be motivated, you know, be there for yourself, give it your all, but also don't beat yourself up. It's very important. I'm very much one of those people that's like still working on deeper layers. And for me, that comes from verbal abuse when I was young, you know, so then it's like you have this voice when you go human that's like, oh, you know, so it's okay. We have to be gentle. We have to nourish ourselves. You know, a lot of the sacred feminine energies coming through, you know. Oh, thanks, Jasmine. Yeah, and you know, this is a supercharged time, right? It's a very fast moving energy. And now we've also shifted from the dragon to the wood snake. So very much about the body, very much about light body this year with the Kundalini energy moving through, and earth, right? And very earth centered, body centered, down on earth. We're taking all this information now, and the physical ascension is going to get real for a lot of us, you know? So I thank you all so much for joining me. And if you ever have questions, you know, leave them in the chat or like, comment area. I'm getting hungry too. I'm starting to lose my words. So thank you so much. And I just wish you a beautiful evening, beautiful weekend. And I will see you all soon. Okay. Take good care. Namaste.